Hello there, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Parsha Wine Pairing. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? Ready to drink some wine?
I'm doing well.
All right. Think our audience is ready to drink some wine?
Everyone's ready.
Everyone bring their glasses? Yep. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jared, for kicking that off. Thank you all for joining and for watching us later. Today we have Shai from Allied Importers who will be here. And if you have any questions about this wine, which we'll talk to you about in a bit, it's carried by Allied Importers, and we carry the full line of this brand. Don't forget that you can order this wine online right now, Parsha 7. Using that code will give you 7% off. This one will be featured for this week's Parsha, and then we'll introduce the wine for next week that you can order as well with that 7% discount. So, Jared, what's this week's Parsha?
This week's Parsha is called Mishpatim, which means laws or ordinances in Hebrew. And the beginning of the Parsha is all about God instructing Moses on the laws in the Torah after giving the Ten Commandments. And there's a lot of them. And then eventually, though, I had to really read the whole Parsha to really get something good. But a big part of this Parsha is it's the first time that the three pilgrimage festivals, or the Shalosh Regalim, are mentioned. The three pilgrimage festivals to the temple in Jerusalem. And so that's Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. So the three festivals that you'll make during the year, and that's to Jerusalem. So in the times of the temple, we had those three festivals. Great time. And so the connection for that for the Parsha and the wine is going to be Jerusalem Vineyard, 4900 reserve Cabernet, 4990. Important Hebrew year, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
And that's a great connection there, Jared. Let's go ahead and try. This is the reserve Cab. They have a few different series. It starts with the entry level 2900. There's red, white, there's blends. It has a 3400 premium. A lot of good single varietals there. Some of them have scored in the 90s, like the Shiraz, I believe the Pinotage as well. And then there's the 4990 series, the reserve series, and I believe there's a flagship as well. So a lot to choose from. This specific winery and the line of wines here are great QPR, great value, all of them in any range. So if you're starting with the entry level, or if you're working your way up to the reserves, which are about in the $25 to $30 range, all great value. We're going to go ahead and try this wine and tell you a little bit about it. And while we're sniffing and sipping, if Shai's still there, maybe he can tell us a little bit about this wine and why he likes it.
Okay. All right, well, fine.
This is drinking beautifully right now. This is actually for an Israeli cab. A lot of them I find very fruit forward, and you're definitely getting your fruit here, but it's so well balanced with the oak. This is aged for, I believe, 24.
It almost has an old world style taste, doesn't it?
It's definitely more new world, but you do have that integrated oak, which I believe was aged for 24 months in French oak barrels. It really comes through nicely. Not overpowering oak, not overpowering fruit. Bigger body.
Unfiltered also, and the grapes were picked before dawn.
So a lot of people like to pick it before it gets hot outside, before it gets light, and then from the time you pick it till you crush it, till you bring it in, you want to keep it at a good temperature. So this wine was recently scored 90 points, Shai is saying, and it is unfiltered. So yeah, you're right about that. Definitely, this is a wine that for myself I could drink this on my own on its own without having it with food. But it's big enough, and it will pair very well with food, especially things like steak or bigger fare. A very, very nice wine, and I hope that Yaakov will join us today as well, and maybe step in here and taste it and give us some of his notes.
My notes are blackberries and a little bit of cherries, hints of vanilla,
some raspberry.
Very good as always.
Very, very. I'm really impressed with all the wines I've tried from them. Very nice. The Shiraz is the 3400 series.
Everyone
is I drank that the first time I tried it. I loved it. It's about $20 or so, but for something of that price, so it's a really good value. And I believe the Shiraz got like a 91 one year, maybe 93 another year. So now we have Yaakov here, our resident taster. And he's going to go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
So just looking at this wine, it has a beautiful magenta color, or actually more of a garnet. But when you kind of bring the wine to the edge, this doesn't get... It has depth to it, so you can tell that the wine's going to hold well over time. You know, this is a great QPR wine, but at the same time it has, you know, firm tannins, a little bit grippy tannins. So this wine should, the complexity of the wine as it is right now, it's relatively complex for a Cabernet of this price range. And
Shai is saying that it's a limited production also. So guys, get it while you can. Get it in time for Purim or for Passover.
And we actually just got some in our warehouse. Today we're still unpacking it, putting it away on the shelves, and we're going to have that up, more stock available later today. But I'm really happy that we just got this back. This is definitely, I love this brand, and the quality that you get for the price is fantastic.
Okay, it says here that it was aged 24 months in French oak barrels. You can tell that the oak profile on this is, you know, very strong and heavy, but it balances the rich fruit in the wine and allows it to be easy drinking, even though the wine is complex and the fruit does have depth. So yeah, this is a fantastic wine, and I get cranberry on the nose, very strong, a little bit of blueberry, perhaps even a little cassis. And yeah, the mouthfeel is supple. It doesn't have any sort of intense acidity or astringency, and it's an easy drinking wine and a great wine.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were saying, like the way that it integrates well, the fruit and the oak, and usually a lot of the cabs you get out of Israel, especially in this price range, you're gonna taste a lot of that fruit, or sometimes the oak is overpowering. And with this, it's like they're both there. You taste them both, but they really work in harmony, and it's a really nice, it's a really nice wine.
Yeah. And I see the note there that Allied put of eucalyptus. That's certainly true. You know, when you give a smell, it kind of has that, you know, almost cleansing of the nostrils kind of thing going on that eucalyptus gives. And that's a very special thing to find in Cabernet Sauvignon. That's very rare. And this is a very special wine.
So the panel today is strongly recommending this wine. I think this, you know, this is probably across the board something that for the first time everybody has felt so strongly about. So maybe we'll just keep all the inventory and take it home instead of selling it. But
sorry, sign me up for a case.
If you guys want some, go ahead and order it online. Before we leave, let's talk about the wine that we're going to be featuring next week. We'll tell you more about it, but just so you know what it is, it's the Dalton Alma Crimson. Recently, there was a branding change, a rebrand that Dalton went through with some of these wines. Before, this would have been the Dalton Alma Red GSM, the Dalton Alma Red, and then they also have a Dalton Alma Crimson GSM. So there's a couple of Dalton Alma Scarlet GSM. Sorry, it's still not 100% down pat with those names because there's been a lot of change. There was a GSM and an SMV, but this. If you're familiar with the wine from before, you are getting the same wine, the same style of wine in a different shape bottle, or this one was actually this shape perhaps, and a different label. But this is all the same familiar wine that you've come to love. This wine will be featured next week. Again, Parsha 7 will give you 7% discount on this wine, so go ahead and order it. Again, we got this in today, so it's going to hit inventory soon if it's not already available online, or you can call up and we can put in an order especially for you, and you can get that for next week so that you can pair it with your Parsha for next week.
Next week.
This is going to be on sale now for $24.99. Full retail is $28.99, so you're already getting on sale, plus you can get 7% off. And Shai's going to throw in a few notes there about this wine, so you can make some decisions about how much you want to purchase, not if you want to purchase, because it's definitely a must-have wine. All right.
Very good.
Shai, thank you for joining and for posting your comments and for supporting us here with the tasting and information. Yaakov, thanks for stepping in for that beautiful description. That was very informative. Jared, thanks for kicking off the wine of Parsha and telling us about this week's Parsha.
And studying the Torah so I could find this one too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's putting in overtime. I'm just happy to be here working with these guys. Great team.
Yeah, thank you.
Kosherwine.com.
L'chaim.
Wishing you a good Shabbos, and hope to see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.